I'm going to reveal 5 ways to make that person think about you a lot. What I'm about to illustrate might sound familiar. You meet someone, there's chemistry, you go out, and when you're together, everything flows. You understand each other, have fun, enjoy each other's company, and there's even intimacy. The chemistry doesn't fail when you're together, and in that moment, you think, we have potential as a couple. However, when you're not with that person, you get the impression, based on their behavior, that the moment they leave you, they don't think about you. They don't remember you. Unlike you, who spends the next few days constantly reminiscing about moments from that date, thinking about what you'd like to happen with that person. Maybe you go on more dates because the dates are good, but while you notice that you're getting more involved, you feel like that person isn't. Your intuition isn't wrong, because intuition rarely fails. Indeed, that impression you have is because you realize that, although you're not constantly seeking the person out, you do it a little so it's not too obvious, so that person doesn't realize you're getting hooked. You're playing a bit of the seduction game, hiding your cards, which isn't bad. But on their part, it doesn't seem like they're doing this to hide anything. Rather, they simply turn around and go on with their life. That's what's happening. While you, in the intervals when you're not with the person, do think about them, this person doesn't. An indispensable requirement for falling in love with someone is that, in their absence, we think about that person. It's necessary because falling in love is essentially a process through which we idealize someone, meaning we imagine them as we'd like them to be. That idealization, that belief that they're the perfect person, is temporary. We live with 2 images, our mental image of that ideal we have and the real person we're getting to know. Gradually, the idealization loses ground, and reality gains until, one day, we're with that person and we're already in love. The mission of that idealization has been fulfilled. But, of course, if someone has a great time with you but then turns around and doesn't think about you, goes on with their life, and only remembers you when they want to see you again, you're in a tough spot. But don't worry, because today I'm going to reveal 5 ways, as I said, to make this person, when they're apart from you, keep thinking about you. First, avoid always being available and don't fall into predictability. Do you know what kind of person is harder to fall in love with? Someone who is happy with their life and has a busy routine. As I mentioned before, if I'm always busy with my things, focused on my activities, it's less likely that I'll start thinking about someone, because my attention is on what I'm doing. And if what I'm doing makes me happy, I don't feel the need to escape from my reality. On the other hand, there's someone who isn't happy with their life, who hates their job or their circumstances, or is simply very idle. That person is more prone to quickly fall in love with anyone who gives them the slightest attention or affection, not because the other person does something special, but because they have a need for escape. Love, in many cases, is a way to escape from a reality we don't like. Someone in that situation will quickly start imagining a future, dreaming that this person will come to rescue them from their daily life. So be careful. Often, the key to improving our love life is changing our circumstances, taking control, and building a life that satisfies us. That way, we'll be more selective when meeting someone and won't fall in love with just anyone. We'll pay more attention to what that person does to earn our affection. But, as I said, in general, humans don't value what's always available. And, above all, if I want someone to think about me, I must allow intervals of absence. Note, these intervals should be measured. It's not about disappearing for 3 days, but adapting to the rhythm of the relationship. The important thing is not to establish a predictable pattern. As I mentioned, don't be predictable. I often analyze conversations of people who have just met and already have daily chats that seem like they're from a years-long relationship. The typical good morning message mid-morning, how's your day going, and so on. They're not even really getting to know each other. There's no originality. It's like a check, check, check. They're just verifying that the other is still there. Some funny or slightly risque comment at night, but nothing more. The maximum variation is 10 minutes. My goodness, more than a romantic chat. It seems like a train schedule. Please, don't fall into that routine. Don't be predictable. Forget about bland conversations. Try, really, to talk about more interesting things, even if the other person doesn't know in detail what you're doing, which isn't bad, because then they can imagine it. Try to get to know the person more. Tell something more fun. It's not about saying, I had this for breakfast, went to the gym, worked out. No one cares about that. Really, it doesn't add mystery or help with idealization. And, above all, don't always be available, because when you're not, at reasonable times, a small doubt automatically arises in the other person's mind. Maybe they don't want to keep talking. Have they lost interest? But I think they like me. Then, they start to doubt. And, faced with that doubt, the brain seeks information. And how does it do that? Probably by recalling the last encounter, which we know was good because there was chemistry, because everything flowed. Then, they'll remember, but I think they do like me. They'll remember details of the encounter, start thinking. And that's what we want, for them to think about us. One of the simplest ways to achieve this is by not being predictable and, occasionally, not always being there, not responding immediately, not being available all the time. Live your life. Also, doing more things for yourself is beneficial, because if you try to control the situation too much, like thinking, I won't respond until they reply, you'll stress yourself out too much. I recommend letting this flow more naturally. Get used to doing things like, I'm going for a walk, maybe I'll leave my phone at home or on silent. Or, simply, if I'm working, I focus on what I'm doing instead of being attentive to whether that person has written to me or not. It's not necessary to always be in communication. It's okay if you don't talk as much if you leave space. That space benefits you. Second strategy to make them think about you. It's essential that you learn to connect emotionally, leaving a significant mark on that person. This type of profile, someone sociable and charismatic who enjoys a fun date, but then seems to forget about you, is usually someone who, deep down, longs to reconnect emotionally with someone. They've lost the habit of creating deep bonds, and that's where you can make a difference. The key to truly connecting is understanding that it's not just about laughing together, seeing how attractive you are, or having incredible intimacy. All that is fine, but you must go beyond. Focus on giving deeper meaning to your moments together. When you have a conversation, ask questions that invite the other person to open up, to share more about themselves. Explore topics like their past, family experiences, or situations that have marked their life. It's also important that you share something personal, something that defines you, so the other person feels they can trust you. And, above all, when they start to open up, let them talk. Allow them to elaborate, to feel heard. When building an emotional bond, what influences the most is how much you reveal about yourself, not how much the other person tells you. This is a common mistake. We worry so much about making a good impression that we forget to listen. Sometimes, before a date, we already have a speech prepared about everything we want to tell. I'm going to talk about this thing that happened to me, about how someone flirted with me at work, or about that trip where I achieved something incredible. But, in reality, the most important thing is for the other person to open up. As I say, the goal is to be more than just company. We want to deepen, to leave a mark on their inside. Third, master the art of mystery and the thrill of anticipation. This can be a very powerful tool to keep you on that person's mind. How to achieve it? Don't rush to reveal everything about yourself. Instead, leave certain things up in the air, create little enigmas. For example, if you're talking about a topic like vacations and you mention that summer you spent in a special place, but you stop and say, that was incredible, but I'll tell you about it another day. Leave it at that, unresolved. That little suspense will make the person stay curious, wondering, what happened? And not only that, you can also use this for the future. Imagine you tell them, if things keep going well between us, I have a place in mind that I know you'll love. You're not promising anything, not even assuring that things will progress, but you're planting the seed of anticipation. Who doesn't love the thrill of having something to look forward to? These little tactics work because our minds hate voids. If you leave something unresolved, the person will unconsciously start filling those gaps with assumptions and ideas. While doing so, they'll be thinking about you. And when you mention something like, "I have a special place in mind for you," their mind will automatically start wondering, what could it be? What do I like that it could be? Then, they'll start reviewing everything you've told them, remembering the moments you've shared, and that will keep you present in their thoughts. That's why these strategies are so effective. They generate curiosity, anticipation, and, above all, keep you on their mind. Fourth strategy: don't show them that they have you until they express their desire for it to be so. Sometimes, especially when we really like someone and it's clear to us, we want to offer them all the security in the world. We even rush, thinking, "I don't want them to doubt my interest, how much I like them," lest those doubts make them pull away or look for someone else. I want to be with them and I want it now. But there's something important we need to understand. This impulse is natural. It comes from a mechanism called sympathy generation. When you show someone that you like them, it's more likely that that person will also feel sympathy for you. For example, if you find out that someone likes you or that you're well-liked, you're likely to start seeing them in a better light. This is true, but the problem arises on an emotional level. If the other person knows from the start that, on your part, everything is guaranteed, they stop making an effort to win you over and simply start evaluating if you're good enough for them. It's like they think, "Okay, I know they like me, but do I really want to be with this person?" Then, they put you under the microscope, look for flaws, doubt, and aren't sure what they want. On the other hand, if the person isn't clear about your level of interest, that uncertainty will keep them more attentive to you. Our minds hate voids, and when something isn't clear, they start turning it over. We want that. For them to think, to look for clues, to wonder if you really like them or not. That's why it's preferable that, even if you show interest, you don't make everything so clear. Don't rush to say, "I want a relationship with you," or "I don't want to meet anyone else." Let the other person take the initiative, feel the need to find out how much you care. If you notice they're interested but struggle to take the step, you can help a little, but in general, let them be the one to express their desire to know how serious this is. Don't rush to tell everything. Let curiosity and uncertainty work in your favor. And the fifth strategy, try to offer them experiences that are out of the ordinary in every aspect. That is, from conversations to dates, introduce new topics they might not know, bringing something different to the table. Few things are more attractive than someone who enriches our world with fresh ideas and unexpected activities. So don't be afraid to explore different topics or propose plans that are out of the ordinary. To achieve this, it's important that you cultivate yourself and acquire knowledge in various areas. Nowadays, with the internet, you have access to information on almost anything. Do some research, think of something that might be interesting, and surprise them with unique proposals. For example, if your dates are always the same, lunch, dinner, drinks, and then intimacy, break the routine. Tell them, "Hey, this time I thought of something different." And without consulting too much, plan an unusual activity. It could be a workshop to learn how to cook a special dish, a painting class with wine, or even a day at a ranch riding horses. The important thing is that it's something out of the ordinary. Imagine this person is meeting other people, since you're not yet in a formal relationship. If this month they've had 8 dates and 7 of them have been going out to eat or drink, but with you they've had a unique and different experience, which date do you think they'll remember more? Exactly, the one that was different, the one that took them out of their comfort zone. Don't underestimate the power of these small actions. Sometimes we think they're just details, but I assure you that if you apply these 5 strategies, it will be very hard for this person not to think about you when you're not together. Really, these are quite effective techniques. So, if you want them to remember you, idealize you, and, over time, fall in love, don't wait any longer. Start putting it into practice today. I hope these tips have been helpful to you. If you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any videos. Share this message with someone you think might need it, because we all deserve to learn how to build healthier and more meaningful relationships.